Well, for the very first time in Mikel Arteta's management career at Arsenal, he has gone ahead to obviously throw in defense to the signs he's gone ahead to make this summer, as he assessed them and went ahead to advise the fans of Arsenal to give them time, because their players he's gone ahead to sign on a high. That is Declan Rice, £105 million, record-breaking signing for Arsenal and for a British player in the Premier League. Then Kai Havertz, £67 million. So he's defending those two because they are not going all well to the fans of Arsenal. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. We are here to address the rumors that Tomiyasu had been offered to Italian teams. Fabrizio Romano has said something about it. Bukayo Saka coming in through and explaining how he's excited for Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, and Emile Smith-Rowe this upcoming season. Smash the like button close to 400 times. Don't forget to obviously subscribe to this channel to see to it that we hit 17,000 subscribers before the end of this month. Remember, we are in the 2nd of August and you guys are ready or not yet ready with the packages we are having. Premier League returning, Arsenal playing today, and obviously we are going to be bringing you a live session of the match day live as we do the pre-cap of the Arsenal starting 11, Monaco starting 11, and so on and so forth. So that's the reason as to why you should keep it this channel. And we thank God for the gift of life and the Muslim viewers and subscribers. We thank Allah for the gift of life. We're going to have to give you day in day out. Now, Arteta has gone ahead and obviously said the following about the signings he made. He said, "We've got some fresh faces in the squad this year, and I'm so pleased that we were able to bring these signings in early in the transfer window, so we've been able to work with them. The feedback we've had from them is that they feel like they've been here for years already." So that is something that has been powered by these players at least having people or ex-players they've gone ahead to play with. For example, Declan Rice has known Bukayo Saka, Aaron Ramsdale, and Ben White before. They've always made at the England national team. They've been there and they know one another very well, meaning that for Declan Rice, he had to settle in very well. Even Emile Smith-Rowe was once with the Three Lions camp, and he obviously said that Declan Rice is an amazing guy, and that's why he has settled in early enough. Then Kai Havertz, obviously for him it's known that his best friend left Chelsea in the January transfer window and then came in at Arsenal, and now 6 months later there comes Kai Havertz joining a player known as Jorginho, and Jorginho has gone ahead to do lots of things, and he has gone ahead to obviously provide a soft landing ground for Kai Havertz at the Arsenal side, and that's why he has gone ahead to settle in. The player that I'm really so much surprised about is Julian Timber, because for him, he hasn't played with any of those players at Arsenal, and he's coming in from Netherlands, but the way he has gone ahead to cope up with Arsenal is really out of this world, and he's really doing wonderful performances. And out of the three, he's one of those players that's gonna hate to obviously show that he is already fitting to the team of Mikel Arteta, and I think he's the most exciting about the three, and Arsenal fans are obviously very much happy with him. So he's a player who came in through without no player he knows in Arsenal, but the way he's gonna hate to fit in at Arsenal is very, 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 very surprising, and is playing good games in the field. So all the three players are really feeling that they've already been here for years, and the atmosphere at Arsenal has gone ahead to give them room for settlement, and that is something that Mikel Arteta talked about. That was the first assessment he made about these three signings, that they've all fit in well. That is Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Julian Timber. Then he said, obviously, for some of them, it has been a big change in the model they're used to do, in the demands and expectations, and we have to acknowledge that and treat them in the right way. That is it. So Arteta knows exactly how to treat these players the right way, and when it comes to treating them the right way, it obviously gives you gives you signals of them coming in through and obviously giving you the best they deserve as a team of Arsenal. And for Julian Timber, I think it's not something new for him because he has always played for Erik ten Hag, a manager who believes in having a lot of intensity. I think Arteta mentioning about a big change is all about the training sessions and intensity that is required to play these big games. Because for Julian Timber, he's a man who has always played for Erik ten Hag since the age of 18, when Ten Hag's demands were all about intensity. And I think the way Arteta has been training him is not far off from what he has always done at Ajax. But I feel a little bit for Declan Rice because he has never had a manager who really calls for intensity. I don't see David Moyes into that a lot, and I think for Declan Rice, he's trying to cope up with the training sessions. And I think for Kai Havertz, he comes in from the Bundesliga where intensity is part of their game, and he was once managed by Tomiyasu, who calls in for unceasing intensity. That is it. So when you look at Rice, I think is the only one who has gone ahead to really take long to settle in, especially to the training sessions, the drills, and so on and so forth. But I anticipate he'll also become good and better and get used, because there is a good player in him, though I think he's overrated and overhyped by the media. So Arteta went ahead to warn Arsenal fans, and Arsenal fans, this is all for you. So let's make sure we give those players some time as well, and to make sure that they have the needed space in which to express themselves and then get to the level that we want from them. That is always important in helping new players integrate. Now, I know why Mikel Arteta is throwing in a towel to say to it that the jabs don't go directly to the jaws of Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, because they are struggling to get to that Arsenal side. We know that. Julian Timber is a tick already. He has shown us his potential and what he's going to bring to the Arsenal side, and most of the Arsenal fans are excited about Julian Timber. Then, for Declan Rice, having had a very bad display against Manchester United, we wait and see how he's going to play today in that game against Monaco at the Emirates. And for Kai Havertz, amidst him having scored 2 goals in the pre-season tournaments, these fans of Arsenal are still demanding for more. They're still demanding for more. They are not yet convinced, because by the time he came in through at Arsenal, most of them were really not okay with him coming in through, and few understood the signature of this player to Arsenal. So as it stands, it obviously gives you vibes of fans being dubious about these players, but Arteta is calling in for the fans to give them a benefit of doubt, so to it that they obviously give them the time they desire to get integrated into the team of Arsenal. And what he's saying is right, because it's not that every signing you makes an instant impact. Makes an instant impact. For example, Fabio Vieira, look at him. Every time he touches the ball, you see a player in him, but you just have to wait and see when the player in him is going to explode. But there is a very beautiful player in him, and he has not gone ahead to explode immediately. That is it. So, for our case, it's all about Mikel Arteta understanding that the fans are just eager to see these signings really make. You know, when these signings are brought in, excitement is on the high. But there is a difference between excitement and what the player is going to put up on the field of play. And I know why pressure is mounting a lot onto the Mikel Arteta side, because the board trusted him. They've now bought him a player for £100 million, 67, and he needs to see these players do the best, because he promised the board that they're going to work out, because his recent past at Arsenal, in as far as making signings concerned, has been 99% accurate, and most of the signings went ahead to bring in through have gone ahead to obviously work out well like a charm and fit in his team like a glove. Now, leaving that, let's go to Bukayo Saka. Saka Bukayo has obviously gone ahead and talked to ESPN UK about his fellow boys, that is Reece Nelson and Edin Ketia and Emily Smith-Rowe as they came in through from the academy of Arsenal. He said, "I'm happy every time I see one of my boys do well. Reece Nelson, the winner against Bournemouth. I'm so happy for him. That moment, he deserved it. No one sees how hard he works behind the scenes, and he has been unlucky with some injuries." That is what Bukayo Saka said about Reece Nelson. Then he continued and said, "I hope he can take on from there." He said, "Edin Ketia as well. Emily Smith-Rowe, I hope we can continue to make an impact because we all love this club." Now, he first hinted about Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson, to me, he's a player who just deserves what we call more playing time. And I don't know whether even this season is going to have it because he's injured. He missed out onto the American tour or preseason tour because he was injured. So, if you know what has gone ahead to stop the career of Reece Nelson, it's all about injuries. He would have gone ahead to find himself loaned to another side during last summer, but he got injured, and that would have introduced him to more playing time. But it was a blessing disguise that when returned, he obviously made an instant impact, scoring a brace against Nottingham Forest, the game that ended 5-1 or 5-0, and put in another assist too, scoring against Bournemouth and putting up an assist, and coming in through in other games to obviously increase the intensity of the game. But to me, I believe he deserves better. Without him getting enough playing time, he's not going to develop into a player that he deserves. Coming off the bench is good, but no player would always like to come off the bench. That player is not there. Have you ever seen him, guys? I've never seen a player who wants to come off the bench. You know? Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who used to score very many goals from the bench, never wanted to come from the bench. He always wanted to start. You know? So, every player should be pushing to start games. So, for Reece Nelson, it's really hard because ahead of him there is Martinelli, Leandro Trossard. Smith-Rowe is back, and I believe Smith-Rowe is more efficient than Reece Nelson. I don't know how Mikel Arteta is going to go on with that. Then, for Edin Ketia, I think that's what he can offer. You know, he does not lead the press well. He's not a clinical finisher, but he can act as a backup for Gabriel Jesus, but not as a competitor. And that's why to me I see Balogun more of a competitor to Gabriel Jesus than Edin Ketia. That is it. Because a player who will always knock on the door of the manager and always ask for playing time is always hungry to succeed and obviously be starting every game. So the thirst of Edin Ketia is really low, and the thirst of Balogun is really high. If at all I'm Arsenal, I would easily sell Edin Ketia and keep Balogun in, because Balogun will keep Jesus on the tenterhooks. That is it. And Jesus will get you more. But Edin Ketia will not force this guy to get you more. And Emily Smith-Rowe, to me, if it was not injuries that he really went through last season, I think would have been one of the most important players for that club of Arsenal, because he scores important goals. He has an eye for goal. He has those artists. He has those assists with him. Intensity, you know. He's not a selfish player, and he obviously gives you what goes or what is required where you want it. So I see him as a player that can obviously thrive beyond limits. And I see him as a more talented player than even Bukayo Saka. He's talented, and he's a typical English player made for the Premier League. Direct, shoots, assists, runs. He has every attribute to fit into that Mikel Arteta system, and I think it was bad of him. It was bad of him to really get injured last season a lot, that he missed out onto that. And I think it would have been one of those players that Arsenal would have needed into that final bend of the season to win the trophy. But unlucky enough, he was really not fit to take his team to the well-chased glory. So after that, let's talk about the Tomiyasu story. Tomiyasu is one of those players that came in from Italy, Bologna, and because of the injuries that he has gone ahead to face at Arsenal, stories had been put out today morning that looks like Mikel Arteta wants him out and he has offered him to Italian clubs. Fabrizio said Tomiyasu hasn't been offered to any Italian club despite reports. His regular part of Arsenal plan situation could only change if Arsenal sign new fullback, but nothing close or advanced at the moment. So Tomiyasu, for me, is a very good player, but I'm not going to change my stance. This is the last chance that Arsenal is going to give him. If at all he finds himself unfit, right? If he finds himself unfit again with injuries and not being available, I think next summer they are going to sell him. I think this is the last chance Arteta is giving Tomiyasu. That is it. If he happens to prove that he's an injury-prone player, Arsenal will move in for another defender and obviously see this one obviously sold, because you can't be having a player who is good and not being available anytime you need him. That is it, and that is the best description for Tomiyasu. He has been injured for very many times. When he came in through, he played until March and got injured the season of 2021-2022. Then he went to the World Cup, never played all the games, came back at Arsenal, played just 1 or 2 games, got injured again. He's turning into an injury-prone player, and I don't know what exactly is happening to him. But this is his last chance. But I don't see Arsenal releasing him this summer. I think they're going to release him next summer because of him proving that he cannot really stop being injury prone. So guys, your thoughts on Arteta assessing Rice, Timber and Kai Havertz are welcome in the comment section below. What do you make about Arteta hailing Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe and Eddie Nketiah? And lastly, what do you think about Takahiro Tomiyasu? Links to Italy disputed by Fabrizio Romano. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living true God bless you abundantly. My Muslim viewers and subscribers, Barak Lau Fiku. Ciao, ciao.